Welcome to the Lost Wild West. Tonight's tale is not just about guns and gold. It's about blood, betrayal, and a daughter caught between the law and her heart. This is the story of the sheriff's daughter, a young woman who fell in love with an outlaw, and by saving him, she sentenced her own father. Clara lived in the shadow of law. Her father, Sheriff Jameson, was the iron hand of a small frontier town, a man feared by outlaws and respected by townsfolk. But Clara's heart belonged to a man the sheriff would have hanged without a second thought: Ethan Cole, a wanted outlaw. Ethan was no ruthless killer. He was a drifter, a gambler, a man who robbed to feed his brother and survived the desert. To Clara, he was more than the face on a wanted poster. He was her freedom. At night, under the cover of dust and stars, Clara would sneak out of her father's house. They met in an old barn at the edge of town, whispering promises, stealing moments. She knew his name was carved on wanted posters, and yet her heart beat only for him. The sheriff had long hunted Ethan's gang. One night, his deputies tracked them to a canyon hideout. A raid was launched. Bullets lit up the night. Ethan barely escaped alive, but his younger brother, Luke, wasn't so lucky. Sheriff Jameson himself pulled the trigger that ended Luke's life. Clara, hidden in the shadows, saw it all. She watched her father's gun smoke rise into the sky. And in that instant, she knew the man she loved had lost the only family he had left. When Ethan found his brother's body, grief twisted into rage. His eyes burned with vengeance. "Your father will pay, Clara. His blood will balance my brother's. That's a promise." The town split in two. Some stood with the sheriff, the man of law. Others whispered sympathy for Ethan, the outlaw betrayed by fate. Clara lived in torment. Her father's stern face at the dinner table, her lover's trembling hands in the dark barn. She was trapped between the man who raised her and the man who owned her heart. But one night, the truth slipped out like poison. Ethan revealed something Clara could hardly believe. Her father was once part of the same outlaw gang he hunted now. Sheriff Jameson wasn't just a lawman. He was a man running from his past. He killed Ethan's brother not in duty, but because Luke carried evidence of his betrayal. Her father was no hero. He was a liar, a killer, and the law was nothing but a mask. The sun bled across the horizon when Ethan rode back into town. The people gathered. They knew this would be the final reckoning. Outlaw versus sheriff. Sheriff Jameson stood tall, his hand resting on his gun. Ethan's eyes burned with revenge. And Clara stood between them, tears streaming down her face. Ethan's voice cracked. "Choose, Clara. Blood or love." The sheriff barked, "I am your father. This outlaw is nothing but a stain on your soul." The silence shattered with a single gunshot. When the smoke cleared, Sheriff Jameson fell to his knees. His own daughter's trembling hands held the pistol. His last words cut through the dust. "You carry my blood, Clara, and my sins. Perhaps the outlaw in me always lived in you." The sheriff collapsed, the law with him. Clara fell into Ethan's arms, her heart torn, her soul forever marked by the choice she made. And so, the sheriff's daughter chose love over law. But in doing so, she lost everything else. In the Wild West, justice was never simple. Sometimes it came from the barrel of a gun, sometimes from the heart of a daughter. What would you have done? Would you choose law or love? Tell us in the comments below. And if this story gripped your soul, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because here, we bring you the forgotten legends of the Lost Wild West.